and happy Wisdom Wednesday. Thank you so much for tuning in and for choosing to spend some of your time with me. I'm Maria Milagros. You're an incredible human. This is Wisdom Wednesday, a space that I've created just to share some of the things that help me grow in my own wisdom and to continue to evolve as a human being and to continue to get closer to those next level spaces of overall health and happiness, because ultimately that's really everybody's goal. Let's be real. Today, I want to talk about love languages. If you don't know what this is, about 10 years ago, this book came into my life called The Love Languages by Gary Chapman. It's an awesome book. At the back of the book, there was a little quiz that lets you take the quiz to learn more about what your love language is so that you can understand how you receive love and appreciation. What's also really great about this book is that, and not just the book, but the quiz, is that it also helps you understand that other people respond differently and they have different love languages. So when we get mad and say, oh my gosh, why didn't so-and-so just do the dishes? Well, so-and-so doesn't think about the dishes the same way that we do if, depending on your love language. Instead, they want to hug and cuddle. And you're like, stop touching me. There's so much work to be done. But they're operating from their love language and you're operating from yours. So simply put, there are 5 love languages, and there's not a specific first, second, third. These are just the 5. Words of affirmation, which is just that, affirming, quality time, receiving gifts, acts of service, and physical touch, right? And so when you learn more about these different love languages and then you take the quiz and you learn about who you are and what your love language is, it brings so much awareness and self-awareness and clarity. And these things are really important because as we continue to grow and expand and evolve as humans, it's the self-awareness piece that allows us to create those little shifts, right? So we shift and then we say, oh, I see where I could do better here. And then we shift and we're like, next level. And it allows us to continue to grow. But we cannot kind of rectify what we do not identify. So it's important for us to do these fun little exercises so that we can continue to expand as people. All right. So here's a quick example. My primary love language is acts of service. And I recognize that I want to provide acts of service to other people that I love and appreciate. When I don't have the opportunity to do that, I either try to figure out what their love language is, or I just ask them what their love language is, and I'll send them the text with the link and the quiz to take it, because now you can do the quiz online and you can find out in a matter of a couple of minutes, literally 2 or 3 minutes, what your love language is. And then when they tell me, I'm like, got it. So when someone says, I come from a big family and one of my sisters, for instance, her love language is words of affirmation. Mine is acts of service. I go over her house for dinner. I want to clean her kitchen. And, this is my way of saying, thank you, I appreciate you, is providing this acts of service. To her, all she needs is lots of thank you, I appreciate you. Right? That fills her and it's more than enough. So I recognize that and I will say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then sometimes I just I clean up anyways because it makes me feel complete and full and valid, right? So love languages are really great to know in the dynamics of relationships and in terms of self-love and self-care. When you know what your love language is, rather than expecting everyone around you to magically know, or even if you wore a t-shirt that said, my love language is physical touch, you don't necessarily want a bunch of people running around touching you, right? So that's not necessarily what's helpful. What is helpful is that when you have that knowledge and you're equipped with that information, you can then give yourself to the fullest capacity that you can as much of that love language as possible. If you need words of affirmation, affirm yourself all the time, every day. You should be constantly in a space of affirming yourself. If you need, or if one of your love languages, or your primary love language is receiving gifts, go buy yourself some flowers, right? Buy yourself a little something every now and then and I deserve it because I love me, rather than always waiting and expecting someone else to do it for you. Do you get what I'm saying? If yours is, even if it's physical touch, we're afraid to touch our own bodies. When I taught partnership yoga meditation class before COVID. And one of the things that the yoga instructor would do at the end is she would have people just kind of hold themselves, right? And I've been doing this in my fitness classes for a while. At the very end, I have everybody give themselves a hug. And you will be surprised how many people do this for the first time and it makes them so uncomfortable, or they even start crying. Because when was the last time you gave yourself physical touch, right? In the meditation piece, we would do this exercise where I would literally have them touch their toes and their arches of their feet and the tops, and working all the way up, and just touch your body and just like, thank you, I appreciate you, thank you, rather than always waiting for someone else to do it. And if our primary love language is physical touch and the expectation is that someone else has to do it for us, we might allow ourselves to let in people or situations that aren't necessarily healthy, that are more damaging than not. And then from that space, it doesn't feel like it's fulfilling a love language. It feels like we're just trying to fill a void, right? So it's really great because it allows us to really learn about ourselves and to love on ourselves. Now, the other part of this that's also really awesome is that it provides us with a space where we can become more self-aware and recognize, I am sabotaging myself from my own love language because I feel unworthy. I feel like I don't deserve it, because I don't feel like I'm enough, because I believe this like status quo belief that I have something to prove, or that I have to grind, or I have to do it by myself, or I have to hustle. Oh, gross. It's exhausting. And I'm speaking from personal experience. It took me so long to be able to get to a point where I could ask for and accept help. My very my very love language is acts of service. And when other people offer it to me, I would say, no, thank you, I don't need it. And sabotage myself from receiving love the best way that I receive love. Because there was this disconnect. There was this programming that was predominant, saying you have to do it all by yourself. You have to prove that you can handle it. You have to grind. You have to hustle, right? And then again, we're stopping ourselves from receiving the best kind of love. So the love languages is great for yourself. It's great for your relationships. And it's great for recognizing when you're self-sabotaging. And that's where the growth happens, is in the self-awareness, seeing it and then allowing yourself to create room for more of that in your life, right? So I'm going to put the link for the love language quiz below in the comments. If you do take it, share what your love language is. That'll be really fun to just see what everybody's love languages are. And then hit the like button if you liked it. Share it if you know someone who can benefit from this. And subscribe to my channel. What you waiting for? That's it. Because you know what? The world needs a lot more love, understanding, and compassion. And this is a small piece, a little exercise, a fun step that can help us get closer to understanding compassion and love here first, so that we can distribute that throughout the world. Because we can only give what we have. And so it has to begin here. So take the quiz. Let me know what you think. Holla at your girl. You know how to find me. I love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Peace.